Greetings. My name is Jace Hargis, and I'm going to share just a brief background of the Scholarship of Teaching and Learning, an Ernest Boyer model from 1999. First of all, what is SoTL? Lots of definitions. Hopefully these three really kind of symbolize what it is that it is with citations, but the whole concept here is it's how we're exploring, thinking, investigating our practices within the classroom and possibly beyond. It's systematic, which means there's some sort of a design model, and the bottom line is it looks and feels much like most research in that it's publicly disseminated and it's going to be peer reviewed. So what's the point of all of this is that obviously we want to be concerned with gathering some sort of evidence so that we have some background between why we're doing and making the kind of decisions for teaching. This allows us to do it. This allows us to share these kind of findings and also be shared with us. And the bottom line is that it really helps benefit any organization or instructor who's concerned about student engagement, concerned about trying to activate some learning, and trying to emphasize this concept of what we call evidence-based pedagogy. So how is this going to be useful to us? Well, there's many ways that you can do this. Obviously, there's this very quantifiable, rigorous research. But at the same time, we can look at SoTL in various ways. We can look at it as very low threshold ways that we can incorporate one or two models and active learning techniques and gather some data. So it really goes from A to Z on how we might do some of these. At the bottom line, if all it does is increase your awareness of how you think about SoTL and that you're being more conscious about it when you step in the classroom and thinking about how you might do some assessments on your students, this is really going to be powerful. And the bottom line is you can always use this as part of a story, a full story of the kind of work you're doing with your teaching. Many types of SoTL. The first one is probably the most popular one, where we're basically looking at what students are doing before they come to us. We basically do some sort of instruction or treatment, and then we measure what that effect was or the delta change between those two. This can be done either quantitatively or qualitatively. Many of the little things that you can think about, obviously, if you're looking at kind of a larger framework or a larger curriculum, how you might look at the analysis between what one course has with the other. Some qualitative studies, obviously, to look at some certain key issues that might be specific to your discipline. And then obviously looking at the comparisons of some different courses that you might be teaching. The same course with different sections, different times of days, and actually looking at some methods comparisons. There's obviously some interesting ways to look at some innovations that you may have, some ideas, and then ultimately just kind of this grouping of all types of analysis and comparing those in an extensive annotated bibliography or meta-analysis. So what kind of topics? Literally almost anything that we do in the Academy can be a topic. These are just some representations of ones. Obviously I think you have many, everybody has these thoughts from Howe's critical thinking, course design, collaboration, almost anything that you can think about that really affects the kind of things that you're trying to share with students, some of the outcomes that students are hoping to obtain. You can think about how you're teaching those and how the effect of your instruction might have on them becoming better at these. Lots of journals that we can choose from. Historically, these were just kind of the discipline-specific journals that were available, but over the past couple of decades, these have all become very rigorous, peer-reviewed, international, online, open access. So you might think about how you want this work presented and in what form. So I challenge you at this point to think about your SoTL ideas. We all have these kind of ideas. Driving home at night, we're wondering after a class why something worked, why it didn't work. But to think about those kind of things and either share them with me, share them with a colleague, but start to think about a system to gathering some data from those.